The warden accidentally flung his nail clippers into the cell during a routine inspection, only to discover a portrait the prisoner had drawn of him, though the likeness was uncannily lifelike. The haughty warden felt his dignity trampled upon. He immediately confiscated all the prisoner's art supplies and barred him from ever applying to paint again.
Painting's all I have.
Perhaps we wouldn't think much of this, but for a man stripped of his freedom, the loss of his artistic voice was a devastating blow. The next day during labor duty, he acted out of character, demanding a sharp axe under the guise of work. Yet before he could act, Dak slipped something into another prisoner's pocket, something he didn't know what it was. He then summoned a guard wielding a baton, and watched as the axe was hacked to pieces on the workbench. The guard collapsed in shock at this sudden turn of events. Dak was forcibly removed. The man gathered his severed fingers, then felt inside his pocket to find a flower. A symbol of freedom drifted across from the island's other side. Dak believed he would surely escape to freedom, and he would always keep this flower close. But that very day, the warden discovered the flower. Prisoners were forbidden from growing plants here. Without hesitation, he crushed it in his hand.
Some men are destined never to leave Alcatraz.
The warden's words, combined with Dak's death, only strengthened the man's resolve to break out. The next day, he bid farewell to his cellmate. They instantly understood his intent. But on the very eve of his escape, the warden conducted a surprise inspection. Sensing something amiss, he ordered his men to search the cell thoroughly, preparing to join the search himself. As the warden moved the suitcase blocking the ventilation shaft, the man's hair stood on end with fear, terrified the warden might uncover his secret. Fortunately, his disguise was remarkably convincing. The warden found nothing amiss. After searching for a while, the warden, finding no evidence against the man, left the cell in disappointment. Still uneasy, he announced before departing that the man would be transferred to another cell the next day. At lunchtime, the man shared this bad news with several cellmates. They unanimously decided to advance their escape plan to tonight. Yet as the others crawled through the hole toward the rooftop, one prisoner, overcome by fear, chose to abandon the plan and lay in his cell, silently weeping. However, when the guards inspected the other cells, the three who had just escaped were lying back in their beds. It turned out their cells contained only dummies made of newspaper. Meanwhile, the real trio, working in perfect coordination, had finally climbed up the 3-meter-high ventilation shaft. But to be absolutely certain, two decided to send a scout ahead, unexpectedly. The guards detected no irregularities. They crawled cautiously out of the vent, preparing to descend the pipes from the roof one by one. Charlie finally summoned his courage to take the risk. But was it too late now? Seeing the moment was ripe, the trio grabbed their gear and fled. Searchlights swept relentlessly below, yet found nothing, until they vanished into the night. Meanwhile, Charlie had successfully reached the iron gate, but alone, he couldn't possibly reach the top. He felt a pang of regret. He should have been braver and left with the others, but now, it was too late. Soon, the trio scaled the iron fence and crept toward the prison perimeter. Before long, they found themselves in a grove of trees. Crossing the road ahead led them to the coast. They hastily inflated their life jackets, and without hesitation plunged into the bone-chilling sea. Clinging to their life raft, they paddled desperately toward freedom.